HTTP used for communication on the web between client and server. Client requests data in the form of HTTP request and server replies with an HTTP response. We're going to study commonly used HTTP methods like get, post, put, and delete. HTTP status codes are sent from the server to the client to indicate whether the request was successful or indicate some error happened. So I have mentioned few of the status codes which are going to use in our Spring Boot example. Let's start by creating a new Spring Boot project using Spring Initializer. The artifact ID, group ID you can set according to what you want. Add dependencies of Spring Web and generate the zip file. Now let's import the Spring Boot project into our Eclipse workspace. Let's run this. As you can see, the Spring Boot project has started. So this is the Spring Boot class that we created. So the pom.xml has a starter web dependency which will help us define the REST API methods. Then we have created two model classes. One is course. So every course will have an ID, the name of the course, the instructor which is taking the course, and the list of students enrolled in the course. Student is also a model. It has an ID and a name. Now for every attribute we are going to define getters and setters, all argument and no argument constructor. Now we have defined a course controller. The course controller is going to have list of courses, which is basically an in-memory store. So we are defining this instead of using a database and CRUD operations for simplicity of this example. And we're going to also have an ID which will increment for after you have added a new course every time, right? So here we have something called as REST controller we use for creating RESTful web services, and we are going to return JSON or XML for, as the data, right? So in the request mapping, what we define is the base URL, after which we can define the specific URL for every method. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add 3 courses to our course list, DBMS programming graphics and the instructor names and the list of students enrolled. So get HTTP request method is used for retrieving information from the server. Get courses will get all the courses. Get courses 1 will fetch the course with ID 1. Get is idempotent. So here, let me just add that ID plus plus. Okay. So we have defined something like get courses method, and we have a get mapping which is basically telling us that this method will handle HTTP get requests, and we have added a courses path. So we'll have to send request to course API / courses to get the list of courses which we have added. So let me just run this application. So the Spring Boot application is now up and running. So this is the default port number of Spring Boot application. And we have the course API, which is the base path, and courses is the path which we have defined in the get mapping. So let me send the get request. So after we got a 200 OK response. Then we got the 3 courses, right, which we had added. So we've defined another get mapping to get a course with a specific ID. So we are going to send the ID in the request URL, right? And so we're going to get the course from the list of courses based on the given ID using stream filter. Find first. If the course is present, we'll be sending a 200 response and the body of the course that we've got. If it's not, we're going to send a 404 response. So here Okay, as you can see, I got the course with ID 1. So this is the Spring Boot URL, this is the base path, and this is the path that we've defined for get map. Post is an HTTP method which is used for sending data to the server. It is mainly used for creation of a resource. So post request is used to add or create a course. So now in our given example, post create course is going to be sent to create the course. Post request should be accompanied with the request body, which is basically passing the information of the resource you want to create. I'll set the ID. Use post mapping for annotating a method as a post request. So we have to send post request to the given URL, and we in the request body we will have to specify the course that we want to add. So what we are going to do is we're going to increment the ID and we're going to add the course, and we're going to send a 201 created application, Spring Boot application, so that it reflects our changes. So this is the post request that we're going to send. This is the path that we specified in the post mapping. This is the name of the course, the instructor name, the students that are going to get enrolled in the course that we send the post request. Yeah, so as you can see, we got a 201 that the new resource was created, and the course that we sent along with the ID that was created. Now, post is not idempotent by default. So if you again send the post request, right, you get that the resource was created again. So we have to define an inbuilt logic in the. So now I did not have any additional logic defined. So what will happen is it will again add the course, and so that's not what you want. So we have to define additional logic or some keys. There's something called as idempotency keys, so that we can check if that request it's a duplicate request, and we can avoid recreation of the same resource again on the server side, or we can check if that course was added. So some kind of check is needed for post request. Put request in HTTP is used for updating a resource on the server. So the client is going to send the entire resource, that's basically the new version of the resource, to the server. And what put is going to do is it is going to replace the old version of the resource with the new version. So basically, you can say replace the resource add on the server, right? Input is idempotent because if you send the same put request consecutively multiple times, it is the same effect as sending it once. So in our example, we'll be sending a 200 OK response if we are successfully updated the resource. Else we'll send 404 not found if we were not able to find the resource. Special mention is patch request, which is partially updating a resource, versus put request, which is replacing the entire resource. So we have defined an update course method. This update course method is basically expecting an ID as a path variable and the course we want to update. So put mapping annotation will define that this method will handle HTTP put requests. So we have defined a path for the put mapping. So in the update course method, first we'll be finding the course to update in our courses list. So we'll be passing the ID, right? So we'll find the course which matches the given ID. Then if that course is present, then we'll be updating the course information, name, instructor name, and students based on the updated course information passed in the request body by the client. After we have successfully updated the information, we'll be setting sending a response, 200 response with the updated course. Now, so in case I'm not able to get the course ID, what I'm going to do is I'm going to return HTTP status 404, which is resource not found status. So once you get this, what we'll be doing is we'll be sending what we updated in the body, in the response body. Then the ID will be what we get from the updated course. And we will be updating the students, the instructor name, the name and the ID, and we sending the updated course back in the response body. Let's run this as Spring Boot app. We'll be using a GET request to get the courses which are available. So we have DBMS, Programming Graphics. Now we'll be using put request to update the first course. So let's send this. So you get a 200 OK. The request was successful. And when you get a get OK, so now the course is updated to advanced DBMS. Now in number of times you send the put request. Okay, yeah, I updated the ID. Okay. Yeah, n number of times you send the put request, right? So here it is the same. Like, so now we change the ID, but now suppose if I send it to 123 again, n number of times, it will be the same as effect as I sent the first request, right? So here the get is just giving me that change. The old resource was updated with the new resource, rest of the things remain the same. So in our given example, delete courses 1 will delete courses with ID 1 on the server. Delete is idempotent. So delete mapping is used to handle HTTP delete requests. So we have a delete course method which we have defined, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the ID from the request and we're going to go through the courses list and we're going to remove the course with the given ID. And then we're going to pass a success response, which is basically 204, right? If you're not able to find the resource we want to delete, we're going to send a 404 not found error. Now let's rerun this app. So here what we are sending is we are going to send the delete request to the Spring Boot URL and delete course with ID 1. So let's start with a get request. So once we send a get request, we're going to get the given information. So we have DBMS at ID 1. I'm going to send a delete request now. So we got a success response. So we use 204 here, which is basically the request was successful, but I have nothing to send back. And I have a get mapping, get request. So here we can see we have successfully deleted the course with ID 1. So you can add more status codes to this code. Also, you can add the service layer, repository layer, database. For simplicity purposes, I've kept it as it is. I might make a new video or part 2 on this, but I'm not sure. Please like and subscribe for more content.